Hello, everyone. Pleased to bring you qualifier number 7, the Metroid Dread All Bosses NMG Speedgaming Live 2023 tournament. My name is Sat. I play this game a little bit more than most people, a little too much in my opinion, but comes with the benefit being able to see exactly what's going on and realize how well these runners are playing. Today we have Metatron, Root, J-Lac, and Grubdog. Looks like the layout did break, but the race has started. I will say that much. And while we wait for that to kick in, I'd like to ask everyone, how is your weekend so far? I've been having a pretty good Sunday. Yesterday, I was feeling a little under the weather, so I decided to not participate in any of the runs, but that's okay. I already played all of last weekend. For those of you who have already finished your qualifiers and have already posted 2 or more times and are pretty happy with your time, you've earned the break. For the rest of you, especially in this race, if this is your first qualifying match, remember, you must play the next one in 5 hours. As we can hear somebody sliding into the melee tutorial, climbing the climb right now. Really unfortunate for some reason that this layout is broken. We'll hopefully see that fixed soon enough. In the meantime, I will try to relay what's going on just by my ears. It looks like whoever's in focus has slid into a lane and will be committing to getting the broken Emmy killed, which is a requirement for AB. They skipped the missile pack, it seems. They did skip the missile pack, so whoever's in audio focus is going to have only 30 missiles for Corpius, so we'll see how that works out. Having the extra 2 missiles does help a little bit in making sure that you can skip phase 3, possibly. Datarino, it's true. I will have fun on comms today. I'm expecting all 4 runners right now, given their relative skill sets, to be either at the tail end or past the early Cloaksido at the moment. Probably someone is fighting Corpius right now. Hopefully it's going well for them. What is going on? What is Speedgaming cooking? They're going to come back, and they're all going to be world record pace at the very end of the run already. This is how they... You know what I'm saying? We're entering the black hole. We're gonna come out the other side. Time travel. Oh man. All right, looks like things are back up on my end as well. We do have some gameplay to look at. All 4 screens are for... Oh, there we go. We're moving. Looks like Grubdog's stream is catching up. Oh, looks like he went to a controller layout change in the home menu. Hopefully that doesn't go poorly for him. Root stuck on the post Corpius screen, not pressing the B button. Did her controller die is the question. Already not the most impactful start on the right half of the stream here. Hopefully their controller issues, if any, are completely fine. I am hoping that Root didn't have to get up for something emergency. Oh no! So what ended up happening on Root's end is that she forgot to deal with the broken Emmy. Oh no! Well, let me just figure it out. Yeah, so Root is out of the equation when it comes to potentially even beating her PB. She completely forgot about the broken Emmy. I did send a recommendation on how to continue in the race time chat, where after Artaria you can proceed from Screw Attack back to the broken Emmy before returning to Berenia to continue the rest of the route, but that's automatically, including the resting time here, it's about a 3 to 4 minute loss. We'll see if Root decides to continue. Oh man, this is one of the few categories that fights the broken Emmy this early. So I can totally understand the hesitation in wanting to continue or not, and even the potential to forget. Meanwhile, we do have Grubdog about to reach the, as Justin Zane called it, the bathwater skip. I like to call it the toilet skip, because it's literally just looks like a toilet drain, but that's just me. JLack and Meta also heading through the Emmy zone, going towards water skip as well. We'll see Grubdog struggling a little bit to get the trick. Looks like his slope jump is late. There it is. As soon as you get a frame 1, if you're practiced enough, you'll always get the follow-up, but you have to get the 1-frame jump right there. Metatron getting past it pretty quickly, and Metatron has closed the gap significantly, and now JLack heading over to water skip, trying to see what he can do here. Looks like his coyote jump, which is the extended jump out of a slide on a ledge, is a little early, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to time the jump off the slope. Meanwhile, Metatron and Grubdog heading over, doing water platform skip. This skip allows you to skip having to... I keep saying skip. This trick allows you to have to skip pressing a button down to lower some water so that you can slide into the next area. Grubdog looking like he's having some trouble with the quick inputs required, and he's going to turn around and simply go and lower the water instead. As Metatron picks up the charge beam, second of like a billion upgrades in this game, all valuable. Root having less trouble with water skip than most others in this screen so far. So even though Root did spend a lot of time having to figure out where to go next, she's picking it up. As long as she just defeats 30 bosses, her time will be eligible towards the run conditions here. Looks like Root is also having trouble with the fast melee after the first wall jump, but she gets it. So now she'll be moving forward to charge as well. Metatron, just standing there. What? Standing there holding right on the wall with his charge beam active. Is it possible that his controller died? His controller died! This is not the best start you could ask for. Looks like Meta's controller is actually dead. Alright, he's back. Alright. So, Grubdog now solidly in the lead, heading on to the second iteration of the climb. JLack not too far behind, but has to pass through where Metatron is going en route on the back end of it all. We're hoping for a lot less of these these tech interruptions going forward here. As Grubdog heads back towards the shortcut created by doing the early cloak for early Corpius. We like to use that shortcut a lot because it just skips having to go through a bunch of Emmy zones, and what's more important is that you want to limit as much movement through Emmy zones as possible, specifically because there's just a lot of like twists and turns in there that you have to do to get through Artaria as fast as you can. Even with the Emmy disabled, because we skipped the Emmy loading trigger, you still really don't want to be there if you can. This Grubdog going towards the first thermal switch. Metatron not too far behind. JLack and Root very close together. Root's one of the more experienced runners when it comes to smooth movement so far. Not just in the competition, but just in general. So I could totally see a universe where Root makes up the deficit from having to reconsider her route just because she can move as much better than some of the other competition in this tournament. With regards to the broken Emmy, Dadarino says, checkpoint. Unfortunately, once you defeat Corpius, or not even, once you slide into and enter the Corpius fight, you are locked into that part of the game forever. Which means that you cannot go back and slide into the broken Emmy. Even if you could, the terrain has changed permanently since you did the pseudo backwards, and you can no longer slide back into it without the morph ball. As we see Metatron and Grubdog handling the Magus skip, a precise setup that you can use, much like water platform skip. Looks like Grubdog gets through it, and Metatron figures out that he needed to respin at the end of the setup in order to grab the ledge. So now both runners have moved on and will be challenging the White Emmy. Root actually going for the setupless variation, gets it on the third try, and JLack acing his side of things. And now we're all heading towards the White Emmy as Grubdog gets first pickings. One of the benefits of running on rookie mode is in fact that you cannot run out of missiles on this part. Unless you really miss, but either you're new to the game or I don't know. How scary would it be if the CU started moving like the Chozo Ghost at the end of the stealth segment of Zero Mission? You know what I mean? Oh, we're gonna see something interesting here. So Grubdog actually going for the jump overkill on the platform, but ooh, Metatron sliding under and going all the way around and to the left of the Emmy. So the difference in this kill, as Root goes for the same plant kill that Grubdog was doing, slides under here. Looks like JLAC did something similar. So the difference in kill, even though it takes longer to wrap around the entire arena to the left and then finish the kill from there, you'll notice that Grubdog is starting at the right side door while Metatron is starting under the left side door. So the time difference actually is pretty minimal compared to both. I believe that Meta's kill, the one he did, is only around the second slower than the fastest possible kill. Which is interesting because the second fastest kill is the one that Root did, and that's only faster by less than half a second. And the kill that Meta did is only faster than that one by approximately less than half a second as well. So you can really pick whatever you want, unless you're really splitting hairs. It doesn't matter which kill you do as long as you don't mess it up. So really nice to see basically 3 to 4 different variations of the white Emu kill present in this restream so far, as Metatron misses the slide cloak needed to be able to get through these cloak doors quickly. We'll see Grubdog here heading to the Artaria Cataris deboost room. We'll see what kind of deboost he does. It's a really particular setup. He's going for the 3 missile variation. Here we go, that should be fine, easy. And now Metatron going for the faster variation and nails it just as well. We'll see Root doing the same thing. Let's see which one she goes for. She's also she's going for a different variation. She mixed both together, but her timing does seem to be a little less accurate, so now she'll have to mess around with this ply, but does get it just fine. JLAC also having a bit of trouble with the deboost, but for both runners, the recovery seems to have gone great, and now we're all on the same load screen leaving Artaria. Something you would not expect given how the runs have started. I'm excited. This is a interesting way to start this run. All runners entering Cataris at approximately the same time. Let's see how this goes. Grubdog making the first descent down Cataris. Thankfully, the beginning of Cataris isn't really that challenging. It's only when you get to the Atom Skip portion that it can really go awry. So, no matter how close it is right now, you never know how close it actually is. Until we get to around 4 minutes from now.
Uploading data.
Say goodbye to the final Atom encounter of the run, unless you count the Ravenbeak encounter, but we skipped that cutscene, so this really is the last Atom of the game. We're gonna see Grubdog here heading to the second the first thermal switch, I suppose. This is the second one in the game, but the first in Cataris. Metatron doing the same thing. We just like to take the hit from that claw. It does help because it bounces you towards the switch, and speed you get from getting damaged is instantaneously faster than speed you get from just running. Let's see if Grubdog and Meta go for the Super Boost, which is the D-boost you use to skip having to wait for the wall magnet to come down. Looks like Grub is going for a setup. No, but doesn't hold left to grab the magnet. So he'll have to sit down there and wait. Metatron also messing up his setup. So we'll see how it goes for Root and JLAC if they do decide to go for Super Boost as well. Root not looking like she really knew which setup she wanted to go for. There's 2 main setups that I know of anyway. Looks like Root started for the second most popular one and then just forgot. As JLAC, I didn't get to see JLAC's screen, unfortunately. My first miss of the day, so to speak. But it does look like he's relatively quicker than he used to be compared to Root. As both runners enter the first Emmy zone in Cataris. Looks like both runners getting the same RNG. Oh, but Grub did get a relatively simple variation to avoid, which is where the green Emmy just sits bottom right and doesn't do anything, so you can just ignore it. Meta had to do a somewhat tight jump to get across it. Root getting good RNG. And JLAC also getting good RNG. So now we're all past the sleeper most stressful part of Cataris with having to deal with the Emmy. Meta forgetting where to go. Oh, and Grub's gonna go for Hell Pseudo. This is a very particular pseudo through this distended ceiling to have to hit the button from the other side. If you get it first try, you save roughly 8 seconds compared to having to go the normal way. Meta not even trying. And Root also going for Hell Pseudo. She lined it up with the visual cue at the top of the other door. Oh, it looks like she's going to try again. Oh, no! Root getting the pseudo to go through, but aims too low. So she ends up missing the button. That is a very real outcome of going for Hell Pseudo. It's something that most of us who go for the trick understand as the biggest pain in this run. If you go for it and hit it first try, you save 8 seconds, but if you try as much as you can before your health no longer allows you and you have to go back to the regular pathing, you can lose upwards of 15. Root missing around 13 or so seconds as a result of going for Hell Pseudo and messing it up, as Grubdog and Metatron are now heading towards Atom Skip. One of the more infamous tricks of the game, saves a ton of time if done well. However, you can easily get stuck on this if you're not well practiced that day. Meta getting it first try, followed by Grub on try number 3. So now the onus is on Root and J-Lac. Especially Root, who, remember, she has to go back to the broken Emmy after Z57 in order to defeat it for the 30th boss of the run. We'll see how they fare with Atom Skip here. Looks like Root got a good melee but missed the B inputs. That's too oh, no it's not. Root getting its second try. As we see the same frame between Grubdog and Meta. J-Lac looking like he's having some trouble with Atom Skip. Share your energy with him. Come on, Jay, you can do it. Come on, man. We've been here so many times. Oh no, looks like J-Lac's crumbling a little bit. Missing the B input on the wall is what it seems to be. Alright, well, while J-Lac figures out Atom Skip, we're going to be heading towards the end of Caterus here, as Grubdog and Meta seem to both have missed the opportunity to do what we like to call early zipper, which is another one of those tricks where you can make your way up to have to skip waiting for the magnet to come down. Root, in the meantime, just finished watching her cutscene, heading on over to the second... What is it? What is this? Like the 5th time you see the Emmy zones or something? I don't know. Does the melee over the green Emmy as well, which is something that's really consistent, but I don't see a lot of people doing. J-Lac, come on, man. You can do it. Come on, man. As Meta and Grub are within a second of each other. Root not too far behind, but really far behind because of what has to happen later in the run. Come on, J-Lac, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. That mailer's a little late. Come on. Nothing much interesting coming on from the side of the other 3 here, so we get to focus on J-Lac doing Atom Skip. Come on, man. Okay, that looked better. Okay, there it is! No! I'm not sure if J-Lac is holding B long enough between these wall jumps, just barely getting close enough. The wall jumps may not all be buffered as well. It's hard to tell from the smaller viewport windows here. Oh no. No. You hate to see it. The last time we saw something of this caliber in terms of a meltdown at Atom Skip was when Justin Zane, in his first match in the NENMG tournament against Ednolium, was here for roughly 45 tries and beyond. And then eventually he decided to skip Atom Skip entirely and just go the vanilla route, but the damage was done. So J-Lac here, looking like he's committing to Atom Skip because he knows that skipping it would take far too long. And some of these pauses in between attempts here, I'm not sure if he's close to giving up. And J-Lac will be resetting. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But again, while J-Lac's going through the motions once again, we've got Dyron, the dark rooms. It's really hard to see here because I don't think you can inherit the brightness settings on stream. But we've got Justin, or was it not Justin? Metatron and Grub still really close to each other. Root not too far behind, actually, just entering the dark rooms as well. And we're going to be seeing the wide beam real soon from the side of these three. Or the spacer beam, if you want to call it that. But it's not the spacer beam. It's different, trust. Ooh, one small mistake. And now the lead has flipped between Grub and Meta. Meta correctly meleeing the green bat. And then sliding under it. But Grub missed the opportunity and got hit by it. So instead, now Meta is the one slightly in the lead. Oh no, but another mistake, and now they're frame tied! Let's see how they go through this room as Root picks up the wide beam. JLac, unfortunately, still stuck on Atom Skip. Send your prayers. And Meta doing something that isn't really in the playbook and has to fall back down. Grub now in a solid lead. This will help Root catch up, at least for the moment, as she heads through the big room as well. And it looks like JLac might be giving up here. No more motions on his end. If he does continue, then we can praise him for his iron will in trying to make sure that he can at least finish the run today. It's worth mentioning here, from the side of JLac, I believe this is his first tournament appearance in the qualifiers. So, he needs to finish this run, and the next run, if he wants to actually continue and participate in the bracket matches. Let me double check that real quick. And I was right. This is his first qualifier. So if he wants to continue on to the bracket, he has to finish this run. No matter how painful it might be, given how it's going here. Unless JLac participated last night. I didn't update the sheet last night. I didn't get a chance to look at last night's race time, so unfortunately, if he did participate last night, I wouldn't know. JLac, my friend, if you did play last night, it's fine to DNF here. You just have to make it to the next one. As Grubdog enters the green Emmy, or the green CU room, really. And this CU is a little bit of a pain because of all the turret. There's increased turret fire, and the Rinkas are all being, you know, a bunch of losers. But we were experienced enough. In the face of all of this, I don't know, man. These CU fights... Oh, we're seeing Root doing charged missile strats on the CUs instead. Now, the charged missiles do actually do more DPS compared to the just missiling the shell, for example, but it is a lot more difficult. You have to combine the quick charge mechanic, which is where you can release a partially charged shot while you're spinning in the air and it'll come out as if it was fully charged, and shooting missiles immediately afterward to get the max amount of DPS you can possibly get. And JLac does forfeit this round. Props to JLac for attempting his best. But we will be moving on as all three runners are finished with the green Emmy. I'm not sure if it's possible to get just a three-way layout here. Let me ping an admin to see if that's possible. Alright, I sent out that notice. Now we're going to see as all three runners obtain the Morph Ball 20 minutes in, which is not something you really expect from Metroid games, but now they're going to be heading towards the red teleporter, the first of many teleporters we'll be using across this run, to go back to Artaria, where we're going to be getting the Varia suit. In my opinion, the best designed suit in this game. We're seeing Root pick up the Missile Plus under Red TP. I didn't see if Grub or Meta did the same, but we'll be able to tell as soon as they pop out the other end. We can see their missile counts. Grub did get the Missile Plus, having 46 missiles. 46 is a pretty good number to stand on if you're just looking to finish the run with just only a couple missiles obtained. I expect to see these runners getting at least 50 by way of another missile plus for the purposes of fighting Ravenbeak a lot more smoothly. So, yeah, should be fine though. We are going to see a pretty good missile count for fights like Kraid, where if you have pretty bad RNG, you'll be able to make it work with more missiles than normal, which is one of the primary reasons for picking up that missile plus under the red teleporter. As Grubdog enters Ceres Station heading up to Varia's suit here, Metatron also getting in there. And Root about to start her climb. Now we've got the Varia suit from Grub. This is a good time as any to switch audio to Grub here, as he is in the lead. I forgot that I actually have that power. So we're going to be switching audio to the person who's in the lead. Unfortunately, that's going to make it really hard to switch audio to Root, because Root is permanently behind as long as she's even right now with the other two. Remember, again, she has to go back and fight the Broken Emmy after Z57. And it's going to be extremely unfamiliar to her, because who the hell does that? So she'll have to make it there. As Grubdog taking the red teleporter once again, heading back to Cataris in order to fight the big evil time waster, Kraid himself. Seeing Metatron following close behind, and Root trying her best. We'll take this load screen to look at some of these standings here for everybody. As far as I again, my side of things isn't updated as of last night, but Root participated already twice in the tournament so far, so it really doesn't matter if her run goes too poorly this time around, because she'll have enough buffer to just coast along for the rest of the weekend, and then she'll be able to participate in the tournament already seeded. And then Grubdog, I'm not sure if he played yesterday, then this would be his second one, but as far as I understand, he hasn't played yet, and Metatron already also having posted 2 times of his own. So this is one of those moments where tactically you think to yourself, maybe you don't want to burn out too much trying to try too hard on this one. You can treat this one as warm-up and try to get a better qualifying time later today in around 4.5 hours, which is going to happen, by the way. Qualifier number 8 as the last qualifier of the tournament. Grubdog heading into Kraid, doing as much damage as he can during the initial screaming phase where Kraid's mouth is open. Fun fact, you only deal half damage to Kraid during the initial screaming phase. So you want to do as much, but not too much damage as you can, otherwise you might run out of missiles. Metatron here doing just basically standing there, shooting missiles in his mouth. Grub going for these single wall jumps. So this is interesting, because we're most likely seeing Yup, there it is. Metatron shooting the belly, trying to lower the magnet so that he can climb up. Root also going for the SWJs. Very well done from both runners on the right-hand side. And now Grub taking a massive lead compared to Meta, just because of the success on the SWJs alone. Very well done from the side of Grubdog, hitting up Diffusion Beam. You'll see here, even Root, who was behind entering Kraid, no! As Meta fails to aim up left to avoid the melee cutscene. We get to see this DLC cutscene here, and Kraid still isn't dead! Oh no, what a disaster of a fight from the side of Metatron. You hate to see it. The big green time waster extending his influence once again. Prayers be, as we can all hope together that Kraid does not cause any further damage to these runners if they continue to run for the rest of the tournament. Oh man, anyone else nervous? I'm having a great time watching this tournament. My first time commentating in a very long time. I decided to sign up because there weren't many others signing up for this qualifier in particular, mostly because of the time and day, most likely. I decided, instead of running, I'm going to sit here and help out, avoid crunch time. And I'm glad I did that. I don't regret a single thing. This is looking really hype so far. As Grubdog easily clears early grapple, one of the few intended sequence breaks that we runners ever use in any category. Usually it's the stuff that devs did not want us to do. But this one, alongside the early break for early gravity, is the ones that we use. Root also making it through pretty easily. Looks like she took her time on it as well, just so that she can avoid potentially falling into the soup. If you fall into the lava on the first jump, it's not that big of a deal. You can wrap back around. But if you fall into the lava on this jump, you will never have enough HP to make it out. So you're basically dead and your run dies along with it. So we'll see how this goes. Grubdog re-entering Artaria here. Now, unfortunately, if we could actually access Artaria right here, Root could actually go to the Broken Emmy now. But because Speed Booster is required for this segment, if you want to access the rest of Artaria, you can't actually go and fix your mistake, which is really sad. So again, Root's going to have to commit to fighting the Broken Emmy after the Frozen Artaria section, which is the entire map away. Grub making it up the grapple tower pretty easily, doing a little kickflip onto the pad for fun. Why not? So Root picks up grapple beam. So does Meta, heading back to Dyron so we can challenge. What's next on the agenda? Flash shift? Yeah, that one. True. Anyone else feeling the load screens right now? You know, there are times where I'll curse the game for having like some of the longest load screens in such quantity, but there are also other times where I'm on really good pace and I really need the load screens. Like I just did some intense segment and I need the breather, the calm before the storm, you know what I mean? I appreciate that, Demix. Appreciate that. I'm trying my best out here. Just make sure that we're all able to follow what's going on. It was a little hard to follow all 4 screens, but 3 screens is easier to find. As Root heads over to backwards, early grapple, trying to head over to the bombs? Flash? No, it is bombs, not flash. I am trolling. Grub getting a favorable yellow Emmy spawn here, so it's important to realize that depending on where the yellow Emmy is in the Emmy zone when you enter, you could very well have a situation where the yellow Emmy makes it very difficult to move through this particular segment where Root's walking under right now, as Root confirms that she had the same RNG as Grub. Very, very good RNG. Not having to deal with the yellow Emmy at all. So we'll see how it goes from the side of Metatron as he enters the Emmy zone here. All 3 runners getting the exact same RNG, avoiding the potential disaster that comes about as a result of the yellow Emmy's influence here. As Grub turns on the lights. If Oso was here, he'd make a mention about some face on the tech. I don't see it. I don't believe in it. Grub picks up the bombs. Going to be using these immediately in true Metroid fashion to proceed to the next area while unlocking another traversal mechanic, bomb launchers. I'm not sure if there's another 2D Metroid that has bomb launchers. Someone please correct me. I think I'm not talking about like the speed booster bomb launchers from stuff like Zero Mission. I'm talking about stuff like this. Does any 2D Metroid have this besides Dread? I know it's an Other M, obviously. Scrub takes use of the early grapple here. This is another bit of breadcrumbing that the developers put in to basically tell us, hey, if you manage to get grapple, you might be able to use it as a shortcut here. Strong point of level design, allowing the runners here, knowing that we're all Metroid gamers, to sequence break as Grub gets the hole-in-one in a way that I think is really hard to get hole-in-one in. You'll notice here that Root also tried the same method, but didn't morph and hold left soon enough for in order to land into that tunnel, without dropping into the water, you have to have horizontal momentum going in, which means that if you just hold morph onto the wall and hold left, your momentum is 0, so you'll not fall into the tunnel. So we're gonna see Metatron trying the same thing here, I assume. And Meta having a bit of trouble figuring out which way he wanted to fall, so he couldn't even attempt hole-in-one if he wanted. Grubdog, 1 out of 1 on the hole-in-one so far. There are 2 on the same place there. So on our return to Berenia later on in the run, we'll be able to see the runners go for it again. Another bit of bread coming from Mercury Steam. This grapple shortcut. If you have grapple now, you can do this here and not have to worry about getting grapple later, while also going through a bunch of water segments. Unrestricted runners rise. We have to go through this water because getting grapple later is actually faster. You'll notice there that Root slid and cloaked under the ceiling enemy at a certain visual cue in the background. This is because you want to enter that ceiling enemy's detection radius as late as possible so that it doesn't stop us horizontally by shooting down at us. If you want the visual cue for that, it's a staircase in the background. As Grub going to flash shift, we'll likely see Grubdog attempting backdoor flash here, if I remember correctly. Yep. This is an infinite bomb jump done diagonally against a closed flash gate. Nice! Grub actually going for a different variation, where at the tail end of the trick, you unmorph and do a series of wall jumps to get through. Root doing backdoor flash here. It looks like she got through as well, and also didn't trigger the flash gate itself. If you land into the flash gate after getting through, the door will close, and you'll have to be there waiting for the door to open again, which is really undesirable. But both runners not having any issue with that. Root's version was a little slower, but it doesn't matter, at least as long as you get through. As Metatron choosing to skip backdoor flash this time. We'll see him get the flash stiff soon enough. Grub going for the faster variation of these rooms here with the left and right side pseudos. Looks like his aim is a little too high, but he does fix it eventually. To briefly explain what's going on here, at least for the right side pseudo, if you get flush with the wall, crouch, turn around, and then pause buffer a released aimed shot directly under and beneath you, to the right, or behind you rather, you can send the shot through, so you don't have to travel down to the bottom of the arena in order to break the blobs here. Looks like Root choosing not to do any of the pseudos, so she ends up making up quite a bit of time compared to Grubdog, because Grub had some issues with the right side pseudo and the water bomb jump going up to the rest of the area. Meta going to do the pseudos again. Let's see if his accuracy is better than Grub's. Ooh, looks like he let go of the direction too soon. Look, Metatron not holding the direction he needs. Does it that time, but the angle is too high. It needs to be a lot lower than it looks so that the diffusion blobs can actually end up hitting the breakable blob down there. And now Grub going to head to the speed booster. One of the best additions of speed booster in any Metroid game ever, in my opinion. Even if it causes me grief sometimes. Uh-oh, I've just received notice. R-Candy, one of the front runners of the tournament, has forfeited. I wonder what's going on. Again, R-Candy already having posted 2 great times in the tournament so far. So, missing today doesn't really do much, but I really wonder what happened on his end, as Grubdog and Root both defeat the yellow CU. And we're gonna see the scariest kill of all time, but not really. Every time I run this game in front of those who might not know the game too much, or have only played it casually, I always make a mention, like, this is the scariest Emmy in the game, this is gonna be the hardest kill of all time, and no, you just stand there and look at it. One of the easiest kills to do quickly. You'll notice here, however, that Grubdog is actually on the bottom of the arena, while Root finishes the kill at the top. This is a decision that Grubdog elected into by shooting and defeating the Emmy later than usual, If you want to determine where you're going to land, it's based on the Emmy's horizontal position, vertical position at the time of death. So because the Emmy was defeated above the gap, Grubdog ends up landing at the bottom of the gap. Using the speed booster here to get through some of the sickest intentional design movement I've ever seen. I'm just saying. We're going to see Grub do a Morph Spark up here in order to avoid having to deal with a very slow... Oh no! Speaking of slow, Root missing the connection on the speed keep at the top there. The last step before she would need to store. So she's going to lose a good amount of time here compared to Grub. Both runners picking up the E-Tank, and now Grub's literally speeding ahead. Going to enter Ferenia to challenge the Quiet Robot. As Metatron does finish the speed booster kill himself. But now you'll notice that Grub and Meta, who were very, very close at the tail end of Wide Beam, is now an entire split apart. Some more quiet before the storm here. We're going to see Metatron connecting on the speed keep here. So Root was the only one who managed to find some problems on that end, as Meta also picks up the third E-Tank of the run. I would be surprised to see if the runners take 4. Ooh, Grub nailing the Quiet Robe speed keep entering in. It's really important that you have this because of that robot right there that you can just ignore completely. We'll see Grubdog going for Shine Spark kill strats. And guess it, A+. Root missing the Quiet Robe speed keep. I'm not sure if she tried it, however, but that fight was pretty solid from the side of Grub. You'll notice there, see, Root had to jump and missile that robot before flashing in. With Speed Booster, you can just jump through it because you're obviously in Speed Booster. Speaking of, Grub's stuck in Speed Booster as he wait for the stream to catch up there. And Root taking it very safe with her variation of the Quiet Robe quick kill. Doing the consistent strats. Metatron entering Ferenia as Grubdog leaves. Say goodbye. High five. We'll see if Meta does not connect the store for the Quiet Robe speed keep. Having to wait for that Sonic to pass through. And Meta, ooh, having some trouble getting into that missile tunnel. Or that morph tunnel. Not missile tunnel. What am I talking about? Sheesh. Okay, also getting through the flash gate. Now, as Grub leaves, Root enters. That's the difference here. Wow. We'll see Grub heading back towards Berenia. Berenia 2, as we like to call it. In order to get to Gavarin, but not before fighting the least impressive boss of all time, Dragaiga. We'll get to that when we get to that. Looks like Grub's having a bit of issue with the speed movement heading through the area. It is a little difficult to do with the speed booster with the more optimal strats. It's pretty precise at the certain places that you want to jump. So, no blaming here. As Root going to head over to the same spot, maybe she'll be able to do what Grub couldn't, and we'll never tell if Grub ends up hitting the hole-in-one. Unfortunate. Root also missing the precise jump needed to weave all the way down between those gaps with the speed booster active. So that's a testament right there. These two runners who are doing pretty well so far. That one precise jump can still mess things up. Root not even trying to get hole-in-one this time. I respect it. Now Meta heading into Dyron as Grubdog heads to Brent. The lead has grown this much ever since. Hopefully the choppiness from Grubdog's side will subside soon. Looks like Meta not even trying for the speed boost variation of this movement, which is completely fine. It's not that big of a time save. We'll see here Grub getting the full speed connect on his end, and now he's going to keep the speed all the way through this segment that is being frozen, unfortunately. And then Morph Spark through a very long tunnel. Looks like he missed the Morph Spark, actually, from what I just saw. That's unfortunate, but we're going to see Grub heading into Drog Skip, right? Nope, this is all bosses. We've got to fight this boss. Maintain the speed booster as much as you can to get up to the top of this arena. And now we're going to see if Grub understands how to do Drog 1 cycle, which is a fairly easy trick to do, where you consistently take damage on repeat before Drogaiga can offer you a parry animation. And for some reason, it stops Drog from even trying. So we'll see how this goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, take hits. There you go. Keep taking hits. Good, good, good. Okay, now you can stop. Right. So the reason why we stop doing that infinite loop of damage is because we want Drog to give us a parry at the very end of things to give us a full refill. That refill is really, really important for the Gav robot that we're going to have to deal with very soon, as Root also lines up to take her stab at the Drog 1 cycle. Meta getting his way there, slowly but surely. Ooh, Root misses one of her missiles here. Oh no, that's really bad. Can she make it? Oh, she makes it back in time, and I'm not sure if this is gonna work, and she misses the parry entirely. That's gonna set her so far behind. Meta is going to make up a lot of distance here just because of that. It looks like Root might not be too familiar, and Root in a really strange position that we normally never see, being completely out of missiles. Uh-oh. Hopefully this is enough. Root, I'd stop here. I just take the parry. There you go. No! Oh! Root almost having to enter phase 3! The mythical phase 3! That which no one has ever seen before. Now, unfortunately, Root's resources aren't looking too good as Meta attempts Drog 1 cycle himself. Let's see how this goes for him. Looks like he's got a good handle on it. And I'm not too sure anymore. It's gonna be close if anything. Meta didn't stand too close after each of these self-inflicted damage. So he does end up missing Drog 1 cycle by probably a missile or a charge beam in general, which is really unfortunate. Grub, he was full of resources heading into the Gav robot, the Chozo robot, where the strat is to intentionally take damage and just shoot 30 missiles, 29 if you open with a charge shot. So yeah, now we've got Root heading into the Chozo robot with 25 missiles, it seems like, and 153 health, which is not good. No, and she takes another hit here. This is really bad. Root's gonna have to be extremely careful with the way she takes damage here. So one more hit at all from this point on, and Root is dead, and will have to see herself back to the start of the fight. Looks like the robot's gonna die soon. There it is. Clutch play from the side of Root as Meta ascends into Gavarin here. And Grub, once again, as Meta enters the area, Grub is leaving. Say goodbye. Grub heading to Elon in order to find the Plasma Beam alongside the first encounter with a Chozo warrior. Meta might have been looking away there for a second as he doesn't realize that the cutscene is over. And now Root going to pick up the super missiles for herself. But now you can see here Grub has just been schmoovin'. The gap between Grub and everyone else is widening by the moment. Meta here, simply too afraid to take any damage. Gets a very fortunate blue parry here, which is really nice. So now he gets a full heal, and more importantly, he gets the missiles he needs. Uh-oh. No! Okay, so to explain what happened there, Meta did have enough missiles to defeat the robot, but what he didn't realize is that while an enemy is in a parried state, they take half damage. So what Meta needed to do was wait for the robot to leave the parry state. He didn't do that, though, so he runs out of the missiles he needs to finish the fight. As Grub makes very quick work of the movement through Elon, and Meta finds another way to... Oh no. You hate to see this kind of thing happen. As Meta just bites it, goes back for the refill instead. Grub picking up the Plasma Beam as Root starts to enter Elon herself to tackle some of the trickier movement in this area. Very impressive that Grub managed to just destroy all the movement going in. As we're going to enter one of the most boring fights of all time, which is just a giant DPS check, the Chozo warrior. I'm not sure if Grub's stream died or what. Okay, he's fine. The name of this fight is shoot as fast as you can. That's it. It's just fire. See Grub mashing his heart and soul out. Try to defeat the robot, the warrior as best as he can. The worst RNG you can get is the robot continuously jumping up to the wall, because most people are not comfortable with mashing at their most optimal rate that they can while also aiming in omnidirections. So if preferred, we would really like to just have the warriors at the ground floor as much as we can across the entire run. It could spell a lot of difference. As Root picks up the Plaza Beam, as Grub leaves the area. So here we have a very similar situation with Root and Grub that used to be for Grub and Meta, where when Grub gets something important, Root enters the area. When Root gets that important, Grub is leaving the area. The gap between these runners, however, is really, really wide right now. It'd be very difficult for Meta to make any headway. As Grub forgets that there's a cutscene here! He's forgotten! The final boss of Elon taking another life. As we'll see Grub, from what I understand, attempting the full speed keep all the way up to the water room in the Emmy zone coming up for the blue Emmy. You really want to do this if you can. It saves so much time and energy. As Grub gets a favorable Emmy spawn, where the Emmy is to the left and not the right, and from what I'm hearing, he does make it all the way through. Really well executed from Grub, as he's going to do a water bomb jump in order to skip having to get the spin boost here. And Root leaving Elon. Looks like her warrior fight went just fine. And as she leaves Elon, Meta enters. So now we have the same relationship again, but between Root and Meta, and not Grub and Meta. Lots of flip-flopping here. Grub getting the speed booster in to just annihilate the CU shell. You'll notice this is going to happen more than once. And with Plaza Beam, the CU itself is a triviality. As Root tries the Gav Elon speed keep on her end. And Grub's going to speed out of this room in order to reach the top of the arena as fast as he can, which causes the blue Emmy to come up this way through that door. He would not do that if he didn't open the charge door earlier as well. Root getting unfavorable blue Emmy RNG, but it looks like the blue Emmy is going to just ignore her and go the wrong way. So Root makes it through, not as fast as Grub, but does make it through as Grub defeats the blue Emmy in style. And Meta picks up the Plaza Beam as he leaves Elon. We'll see where Grub ends up. Here you can see that Root opening that charge door before entering the fight. That's the charge door exactly that was mentioned earlier. And Grub picks up the ice missiles, allowing him to defeat the frozen or the flamin' Enki enemies, which will allow us to get fast gravity. We'll see that later. Meta hitting up the Chozo warriors here. So here you can see right there, the RNG that Meta got there is extremely preferred, where you get double melee attack to start phase 2 in particular. But we'll see the rest of this. Okay, so Grubdog here not electing to do the ledge warp strat for spin boost. So what ledge warp is when you jump to... Oh, Meta getting a 4th E-tank here. Interesting. Probably because of just comfort. When you do a full jump towards a ledge, or any jump at all towards a ledge, if you don't hold the direction, Samus will land on the ledge in a mantle animation, where she kind of just steps onto it. If you morph 2 frames before that occurs, I believe it's 2 frames, you can store Samus's human actor at that ledge. So what runners will, as you may have seen from the earlier qualifiers, what runners will do is store a ledge warp in front of the missile door heading into spin boost, before just moving in morph ball all the way through the area, only to unwarp out, I suppose, unwarp or unmorph ledge warp out of the arena. We'll see if if Root tries to go for it as Meta enters Gaverin once again. We'll see if Root goes for ledge warp. Looks like she is going for the ledge warp, so we'll see it here. Root is morphing far too quickly right now. I don't think she's realizing that she's morphing too early. She needs to morph a little later. Oof. as Grub makes quick work of the Gav Warrior. Root does end up getting the ledge warp in time, but at this point, I'm not sure if it would have saved time over just getting spin boost normally. As Meta makes it cleanly through the blue Emmy zone. And now Grub is going to do another sequence break for early gravity here by going up and all the way to store a particular speed booster. And then he can store that speed and take it across this gap that you would normally need the space jump for. See it right here. Boom. And there, at the same time, you'll see Root warping out of the spin boost room. Now, the reason why we're getting spin boost at all, as Meta is having some trouble with some mushrooms. Interesting. So the reason why we even get spin at all is because this warrior fight that you'll see that Root is fighting here, that Grub already dispatched, this will only spawn if you enter the spin boost room for approximately 3 seconds. But because we're there, we might as well get the spin boost, right? That's how we get it over the space jump. As Grub enters Berenia, as Root tries to catch up as best she can to where Grub is, but Grub now going to bomb out the bottom right side of this room. You'll see here some flaming Enkies. This is the second intentional sequence break that MS has given us that we actually end up using, which is the early gravity puzzle. What this allows us to do through a gauntlet of speed tech is basically skip having to go through the entire water park leading up to gravity, which is really, really important because we have Aria Suit. It would take us over like 2 minutes, from what I understand, to get to gravity the regular way. So we go this way instead. Grub stream having a lot more interruptions, but it doesn't matter. We're seeing enough, we can infer what's going on here. That's my role here, to tell you guys what's going on in between these breaks here, as Grub going to head in to the gravity item room, or whatever it's actually called. Is there an official name for a room that has an item in it? Who knows? Gravity suit acquired. Now, Grub is going to have to enter in to Artaria once again, because he does not have the screw attack right now. And what this is going to do is it's going to have him go through Frozen Artaria, which is a gauntlet of movement and really annoying, really, really disgusting enemies that just do a billion gajillion damage, culminating in this one boss fight where you can randomly lose 8 seconds for no reason. It's great. Root easily clearing the early gravity puzzle, as Metatron also skipping the ledge warp gets the spin boost himself. Looks like the diffusion blobs didn't give Root the best of RNG, but it happens sometimes. Meta now going to backtrack much in the same way that Grub did, as Grub again forgets that there's a cutscene here. Cutscenes are not our best friends, everybody. We usually forget at times that cutscenes like those exist, especially the one for Frozen Artaria. I can totally understand forgetting the Frozen Artaria cutscene. For sure. Like, how often do we go here anyway? As Grub going to store a speed booster dropping into the warrior fight in order to spark it and just send it straight to phase 2. That's an intended version. Same with Metatron. Oh no! Grub finds a death on the Art Warrior. That's not supposed to happen. Oh no! We've got 3 tanks on Rookie heading into the fight. Now Grub's gonna have to back all the way up to get another speed booster to bring it back down to the fight and do it again. But this could give Root a good amount of time to come back into things. Oh no. Grub taking another hit from the warrior. He's electing to... So this is something that you have to know about these fights, especially when they open in phase 2. If the warrior is going to stab you, you can do a back flash instead of a jump flash, and he won't make it to you. But does end up going over the fight by the second time. Root realizing that she made a mistake doing a jump charge shot for that blob. So you need to do a charge shot from the ground and immediately jump in. There's a difference there. Meta stream being frozen, and Root also sparking the bot. Okay, Root takes a hit, but it looks like she took contact damage, not spear damage. So she can survive another hit from anything if she wants. And Grub here, going to do some of the more fun, straightforward speed keeps throughout the area in Frozen Artaria. Store here, wall jump here, up spark here, and there you go. Root going to follow in the same footsteps, and Root getting trolled by the spin boost! This is why we hate the spin boost! She tried to do a wall jump off the wall, but because she has spin boost, it registered the double jump instead. What more can you say about spin boost? One of the best and worst upgrades of all time, in my opinion. Oh, Root trying to go for a fancier version of the Frozen Artaria keep here, where you can actually keep it all the way up here instead, so you don't have to store and do any normal movement. Grub simply laughing his way through Frozen Artaria. Look at that. We're going to see Root here. Because she lost the speed, she's going to have to do IBJs to get up. Doesn't look like she's terribly familiar with the IBJs in general, however, as Meta's stream is still dead. I wonder if Meta's internet went out, or something relatively close. We're going to see Root heading through Frozen Artaria. This is looking to be a very cursed Sunday. Not only did J-Lag have, you know, I mean, he has family, so it makes sense. Bro's a dad. Shoutouts to the dads who play this game. But also Arcandy, who I really need to figure out later what happened to cause the reset. Root finally making it to the end of Frozen Artaria. This absolutely terrible gauntlet. And now Grub going to head into Z57. We're going to see what types of attacks Z57 offers him at the start of the fight. Looks like Z57 gave him a spit first. Now this is really preferable. If possible, you would want Z57 to give you a triple spit to start the fight, because then you can skip having to wait for any attacks. Looks like he did get a triple spit. Can he close it out though? Wow, a quad spit! Never punished for missing your missiles, Grub Dog. We can only hope for the same level of RNG from the side of Root. As Grub misses one of the tentacles, now this is going to be a problem, because you can only get the Flappy Bird cutscene if you defeat all 4 tentacles at the same time. Grub not looking like he's sure what to do, but he does get Flappy Bird in time, but this is a problem. He should have been done with this fight by now. Giving Root enough time to catch up, but unfortunately Root does get double claw first on her end. So this is what we mean. You have to notice what attacks Z57 opens with, because depending on what happens, you might be able to hit him during the attacks like with the spit or not with the claw, and you can just decide to lose upwards of 8 seconds for free. As Grubdog speed keeps his way out of Cataris here, Root does get a very clean fight regardless of the RNG. Meta finally back. Looks like he had some connectivity issues with his internet. Finishing Flappy Bird. I'm going to send a message in the race time. Root, after Screw, find your way across the map to Broken Enemy. Note, when sliding under the Broken Enemy, do not morph. You will crash. I have to say that. So now, here's something interesting. Root's going to have to make her way back to Artaria in order to defeat the Broken Enemy. But what she has to realize is that you're not supposed to be able to skip the Broken Enemy. So what ends up happening is if you, like with the traditional tutorial parry on the Broken Enemy, while sliding under it, if you accidentally morph, your game will crash. So here's the hoping that Root realizes that when she goes back to fix her error in fixing and skipping the Broken Enemy. As Grubdog picks up the Screw Attack, and Meta having some trouble getting through Frozen Art, but Frozen Art is one of those spots where it just happens to be that way. I'm gonna switch the audio over to Root for this segment, as Grub is just going to head back towards Berenia and fight the twin robots at the top of the tower here. We're gonna see. We're gonna go along the ride with Root. She's never alone in this one. We're all behind you. To figure out which way we gotta go to get to the broken Hemi. She's going to pick up the screw attack first. And then instead of getting... going where Grub did, up left to get to Berenia again in order to continue. We're gonna instead see Root going down into the right to try to figure out how the hell she can get to the broken Hemi. She mentions in the race time she'll try her best, but she'll be lost. Yeah. Honestly, same. I don't know the fastest way to get down there. I really don't. Not without unrestricted tricks anyway, but that's cheating. Yep. Here she is trying to figure out which way she wants to go. Looks like she's electing to go the bottom route. Basically, we're looking to repeat our movement from Frozen Artaria. And then just backtracking it all the way. This is literally just Frozen Artaria practice at this point. Grubdog melting the two robots on the top, doing the correct manipulation for RNG there. And now we're going to see something that we rarely ever see. The fourth climb from the side of Root. The ever elusive fourth climb. Meta heading into the Z57 fight while this is happening. Looks like his internet is on the fritz. He gets double claw again. Grub, the only one safe in this qualifying round from the horrors of the double claw opener. And now Root here. Going to do what she can to dodge this missile. Doesn't do it. Clearly this is an uncomfortable segment. And here we go. The broken Emmy fight. Wait, what is it? Oh no! Is it possible? Don't flash into the room. Don't flash into the room. Don't flash into the room. I forgot to tell her this. Okay, good. You cannot flash into the room or else you can't shoot your Omega Cannon. I think she's fine as Grub enters into the Glazuna fight here. Uh-oh. Oh no, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Root cannot complete the run. It's gone. Root cannot complete the run! She could have kept playing, but she would eventually have to finish with only 29 bosses fought. She literally cannot complete the conditions! Oh no, unfortunately this will be Root dropping out of this qualifier by way of DNF. There's no other option. What a cursed qual. One of the qualifiers of all time here. Shoutouts to Root for trying to complete the run regardless. I don't think anyone could have expected this particular interaction between the broken Emmy and what I would assume to be Frozen Artaria and the X releasing. That is so unfortunate. Once again, can we put out a GG's for Root in chat if we could? She just locked in her DNF. Shoutouts to Root for trying regardless. One of our best Hundo NMG runners as well. Hopping into this tournament just to practice, or not practice, but maybe just to extend her wings a little bit. Big GG's. I'm going to ping the tournament admin to maybe switch the layout to a double screen here, since now we have two members out. Grub in Ferenia. Let me switch our audio back to Grubdog here. Or Hanubia, not Ferenia. I'm going to head down to Ferenia in order to do the last portions of the run. Metatron not really looking like he understands the movement as well as he'd like here. You don't have to do any of what he just did. You can grab the ledge and do the same exact movement that he was trying to do, but he was trying to do a Morph Coyote out of the ledge instead, which is a lot harder. A lot harder for sure. As we see both runners in an elevator. Unfortunately, Metatron is roughly 3 or 4 elevators behind as Grub entering into one of the final areas. Looks like the stream connectivity on both ends is on the fritz. We're gonna have to be patient and deal with it. One of the small issues of the online tournament. We're gonna see the Purple Emmy giving Grubdog some bad RNG, but he knows exactly how to get around it, as expected. From what I remember to be a top 15 NENMG runner. So he's very experienced and knows what he's doing in these segments. As we see the screen tear from the freeze frames on Metatron's side, Grub going to be heading towards the Storm Missiles now, which is the third to last upgrade to pick up behind the Wave and Power Bomb. Unless you count the Metroid suit as an upgrade, which I don't. But I should, because I play unrestricted and we skip that. I don't know. You're gonna see Grubdog entering the SQ fight. Going to... Oh no! Grub accidentally doing a quick spark. What you want to do there is wind up a Shine Spark so that you can hit SQ to the left and do what we like to call pogos off the wall. But the bigger issue here is that SQ did not get hit by a Shine Spark. So when it comes to boss damage, a Shine Spark will either completely defeat it or do half of its health. Applies to every enemy in the game. Or it just won't do anything. But that's because the enemy is immune to the Shine Spark in general. For SQ, one of the big reasons why we end up sparking it is not just to set up the pogos on the wall, but also because it only takes us six screw attacks after to defeat it, as opposed to like 11 to 12, I think. Meta almost going up Idiot Tunnel at the top there. We like to call that Idiot Tunnel because sometimes we forget it exists and we spark into it. There's a hidden speed block tunnel that leads to an energy part, which makes it even more idiot because who the hell wants an E part, am I right? Grub heading towards the final twin robot fight of the run, the gold and gray. We spark the gold one because the gold one has the most health. And the goal is to mash fast enough to where you can defeat the robot before the second attack comes out. Grub getting an extremely good fight here, by the way. He is known to have one of the best standing mashes in the scene. Very, very good DPS from his hands there. I kind of wish I had him. I'm not sure if... I think he D-pad mashes? I should probably learn how to do that. Meta having a bit of difficulty with Golciuna, but does clear through it anyway. As Grub heads over with in some of the worst rooms ever if you run any other category, where you have to get through these rooms with the spin boost as opposed to with the space jump. You'll notice that the vertical design of some of these rooms is proof that the devs really wanted you to come here with the space jump, but no, we have spin boost instead. Dies of cringe. Grub, though, just getting up there. Looks like he knows exactly what he's doing as he's going to Shine Spark the purple CU once again. And then screw attack it. Fun fact, that does 99,000 damage. If I understand correctly. As Meta finally catches up to where Grub used to be. But once again, as Meta enters the big area, Grub is just gonna be getting an upgrade here. We're going to see... Let's take a look at what type of kill Grub goes for on the purple Emmy. We've seen a bunch of different kills today across the weekends, but here we're gonna see Grubdog going for the plant kill. Now this is really important because your aim has to be absolutely pinpoint. If you miss 4 or more shots, you have to jump over this. And I can't tell because of the freeze frame. No, Grub ends up missing too many shots and takes another death from the purple Emmy. You have to see... Uh-oh. Looks like we're switching layouts to the double. Okay, Grub's back. Whew. We're using Metatron's audio right now. Grub's audio seems to have disappeared into the aether. We'll hopefully get that back. But while that's happening, we'll take a look at this fight again. And looks like Grub is missing more once again. If I'm him, I would jump this. I'm not too sure. Yup, there we go. Grub actually does end up jumping. And we have another forfeit! Once again! We have another forfeit in this tournament, right at the tail end of the run for this runner, from what I can understand. B-Dog has forfeited the tournament. Or not the tournament, the qualifier. According to him, in the race time, Ravenbeak screwed me out of a PB. Yeah, screw that guy. Oh no. Now we have 3 members left standing. Metatron, Grubdog, Manager. This qualifier is one of the qualifiers of all time. I don't think anyone is having a good run today. Here's to hoping that the next qualifier in around 4 hours goes a lot better. It fucking better. I'm gonna be playing in that one. It better be going well. My lord. As Grubdog heads back up to Hanumia in order to prepare for the final gauntlet of bosses, and Metatron heading into SQ himself. This qualifier is just insane. Yeah, Meta not looking like he really knows what to do there. This is just a sign of not really studying the boss strats too well. What he was trying to do there would work a lot better with space jump because you have infinite jumps, but you don't get enough height to do what you want to do with the pogo strats with spin boost. You'd rather do a cross bomb launch upward. Grubdog heading towards the power bomb Emmy. Well, I'm not wrong by saying Emmy here. It is the power bomb Emmy, but in the cutscene you just kind of drink it. So we're gonna be fighting a warrior instead. Can you guys imagine if the powerbomb Emmy was an actual like Emmy and we had to just walk around while getting destroyed by omnidirectional powerbombs that go through rooms that stun us and do like what, an E-tank of damage? How disgusting would that be? Foreshadowing the future. Grub closing the hands on this run. We're gonna switch the audio back to Grub since it looks like we did get it all back. The calm before the storm once again. Grubdog about to drink the Emmy all the way and pick up the power bombs. We'll see Metatron here getting his mash out for these bots. Okay. His mash, you can see here, it's a little less accurate than Grub's, but he does make it through regardless. Any sort of randomly or procedurally generated Emmy zone whatever, like imagine that, but like with the SAX, for example, as well from Fusion, as Grub trying to cross bomb his way up, does not know the strat with spin jump in the room, which is fine. It's not very common. Imagine a mode in like the Fusion remake with the SAX and the Emmy just like stalking you throughout a procedurally generated gauntlet of Emmy zones. How sick would that be? It's Metatron trying to get to Wave Beam, having some troubles, but thankfully the Wave Beam bubbles are not hitting him. Uh-oh. Grubdog here fighting KFC, Popeyes. What are any other chicken places? That's the only 2 chicken chains I know in my area. Is Raising Cane's a chicken joint? I don't actually know, man. What else is there? Jollibee's, I think that's a chicken place. Chick-fil-A. There used to be a time where I think a good amount of runners had a chicken joint as the split name for the Gold Chozo. Speaking of, I might go get some chicken today. Man, I haven't eaten. I mean, I had a sandwich, but I don't know. I'm lazy. Maybe I won't do that. As we see Metatron going for a different variation of the purple Emmy kill. Much safer than the version that Grubdog was going for. Much, much safer. But by sacrifice, it is roughly 6 to 7 seconds slower, if I remember correctly. Do not quote me on this. And we'll see Meta backing up again to finish the kill down here. Even if the kill itself takes a lot longer than the other one, the side effect, once again reminiscent of the white Emmy kill, is that Meta starts much closer to the next area than Grub does, as Grub, heading up to Hanubia, here's to hoping that Ravenbeak goes a lot better for him, and he misses the power bomb. There you go. Take your time with it. Don't miss the upspark. There you go. See, you're supposed to have space here, but we don't have space, so guys of cringe. Paying attention to the Ravenbeak fight here from the side of Grubdog, as Metatron will be doing a lot of nothing going towards the powerbomb warrior here. We're gonna see Grubdog. Yep, he is definitely committing for a mashing version of Gold Skin, maybe with one Stormlock perhaps. No Stormlocks at all. Oh, there it is. He's likely going to do a one lock. Yep. You need to mash at least 11 point something times a second in order to get the gold skip, as you just saw it, with just one Stormlock. With two Stormlocks, you can afford, I believe, around 10.2 shots a second. We're gonna see Grub doing very good strats here on our Ravenbeak phase 2. Ooh, but does make a mistake there. So here you want to position Samus all the time, hugging the left wall. This removes the air to ground stomp attack that Ravenbeak has from his available pool of attacks. So it ends up just switching between wall slam, Gatling, and hyper cannon. And you really want the Gatling anyway because you can do a melee pose to get through it. Grub getting an early melee, but denies it. That's a bit of a knowledge gap right there. If you get an early melee, you take it every time, without question. It's free DPS. That is so unfortunate. We're gonna see Meta here doing his best to climb over the red warrior. It looks like he's having a pretty good time at it. 4 E-Tanks allows him to sit here and just take damage for free. Very, very good RNG on phase 2 and good mashing as well. Grub having a pretty decent phase 3, except for the fact that he denied a parry, a very early parry. And now we're going to be heading into the final part of the game. RBX, the final boss, standing between him and victory, as Metatron completes the powerbomb kill. And I've just received more word. Manny has completed his run at 122.07. Can we get some GGs in the chat for manager? I don't have the power, but if you don't GG him, I will ban you. I don't have that power though, so I mean, like, you know, thinly veiled threat. We're gonna see the escape from the side of Grub. Grub seemingly not really knowing which way to upspark here. Again, we normally have space here. Also not knowing that if you're going to upspark, you don't need to do a melee to get an instant spark. Holding up and pressing B on the ground will instantly spark you, so you're losing time for no reason. But enough with the negativity. We're going to be heading through the escape here as Meta goes up towards the golden Chozo. Using some power bombs to clear some of the enemies in the area away. And as Meta enters Kentucky Fried Chicken, going to see the last 3 rooms in the escape from the side of Grubdog. Oh, he's tried to go for Arc Spark. He really tried. It's a fairly difficult speed keep strat designed by Arcandy, one of our forerunners in all research in this game. Saves a lot of time if you can get it, especially in a spin boost category. But we'll see what he does here as Meta easily gets over the golden Chozo. Grubdog missing the speed keep the first time. He's going to recover it this time. And sparks out. No, misses the spin boost, but it's okay. Clocking in a time of 123.58.72. GG's to Grubdog. Grubdog did not remember to actually finish the run on race time, it seems like. So I'm just going to remember this time. 123.58. I'm just adding it to the sheet real quick. But GG's Grub Dog. And now Metatron, we're going to switch over to Metatron's audio. Meta having some trouble upsparking. There you go. See, he has just how if you hold up and press the B, you'll just instantly upspark without having to wait for anything. Meta maybe taking a deep breath before entering Ravenbeak. It's possible. You good, Meta? All good. Let's see these storm locks. 2 locks into a mash. There you go. Just in time. Now, Metatron here has 60 missiles, so he'll be just fine in terms of missiling. See here, when you get a Gatling, you want to melee pose into the corner, and then you can just ignore all the damage. And now here, unfortunately, if you want to do the same thing on the other side, you have to flip backward. Or you can jump up and take damage for free. But if you get a long Gatling like he did, it is genuinely just much better to take another melee pose. Especially if you're manually missile weaving, when you would rather have the most available time to just stare at Ravenbeak. Metatron getting the earliest possible melee, and unlike Grub Dog, recognizes and understands the assignment, and just takes it. Ravenbeak should be over halfway dead right now. Yep, if I'm Metatron, I don't even care about dodging any attacks. He's so close to being dead, you might as well just destroy him. Should be dead within the next like 7 missiles? 5 missiles, I was wrong. There you go. Now Metatron finally on the last legs of the run here. Oh, this qualifier was so cursed. It was just all over the place, with multiple runners forfeiting, one runner forgetting what category she was playing, another runner having their controller disconnect, another runner having their kids gank them during the run. But we finally made it to the end. The escape. The final runner left standing. 4 have fallen, but 3 will prevail. Metatron heading into the escape. We'll see how he handles an escape with no space jump. Get your GGs ready, everybody. Okay. Meta does end up knowing the visual cue. There's a specific like block in the background you can use. What is he doing? Metatron, brother. Yes, screw attack. Those are screw attackable. It's alright though. And it looks like Meta is going to go for the upspark here. By the way, everybody, if you run this game and you do that upspark, it's actually not faster, according to Noyazaki, who is the current world record holder. If you just speed keep into the room and then cross bomb up, it's faster. I did not know that, so I've just been losing a second for no reason. Haha. As Metatron makes it through the rest with little struggle, teasing Arc Spark there, but doesn't end up doing it. Now we've got the last 2 rooms before the end. Oh, does not get the store for the final spark. But it's looking like he's gonna clock a time of around 129.11, maybe 10? 129.09. GG's to Metatron here. Everyone, please. GG's in chat to Metatron. That was a tough run to continue. That was a really tough run to continue, just in general. Like, you really don't want to be in that position. You know what I mean? Where it's like your controller die like twice to a robot. It's the qualifier. You really shouldn't. Like, it doesn't feel very good, but it takes some willpower to continue the run, even with that all the way done. So, GG's to Metatron. And now we've got 3 final times posted out of 7 people. We have Grubdog with a 123.58. You've got Metatron with a 129.11. And in the back end, away from the screen, we have Manager with a 122.07. GG's to these 3 runners. It does look like we have 2 runners here ready for some post-game interview. I don't think we've had one. We've had a post-game interview before in this tournament yet, but pretty fitting to have it for the last weekend. We have Grubdog already in the call here. I'm going to move Root and Meta in. Why not? Hello to all 3 of you.
Hello.
Hello.
So, out of all of us, raise a hand if you felt pain during these runs.
Yeah. 2
Super
hands.
pain.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
my lord! Immediately, I do want to bring attention to Root's run, which concluded in the strangest way I could have ever imagined from this
Yeah.
tournament so far. Root, you definitely did mention, and I also mentioned it as well. You mainly run Hundo NMG, and that's what you're practicing for an upcoming marathon, from what I understand correctly. So, I mean, skipping the broken
marathon
enemy.
the marathon was yesterday, so I had the route like fresh in my head from practice.
Gotcha.
And then when the first pseudo came up, I was like to skip broken enemy, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is easy. This is just the first pseudo. And then I got to Corpius, and I saw my timer, and I was like a minute ahead. I'm like, something's wrong. And then I just stopped.
Nah, come on. You just had the best cloak pseudo of all time. That's what happened.
It wasn't even a good cloak pseudo, but whatever. But
Man.
yeah, I stopped. I'm like, can I even finish? And then
No.
you messaged,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, so let me try going after screw attack, and then but we know what happened after that.
Right.
So.
The from what I understood, because I really thought that post screw was possible, but apparently Frozen Artaria just removes the broken enemy entirely. Apparently.
Also,
Uh,
it wasn't there later. I saw you post in the
Yeah.
GG in the chat like that you skipped it, and then I was like, maybe you can get it later, but I didn't know what happened.
Right.
Yeah, I tried my best.
The only other time you probably would have had, from what I understand, is after after Varia, you would do a pseudo to break out of red TP and then go there. That's like the only other time you can get there
Oh.
without going back to Artaria in really stupid ways. But
Yeah, makes
that would
sense.
suck. So we've all
Yeah.
learned a lesson today. Don't skip the broken enemy.
Yeah, if you skip the broken enemy, just DNF.
Oh man. Let's bring our attention to the other 2 runners who had some troubles for good and bad. Grubdog, I definitely noticed when you were entering Corpius that you stood in that hallway for a bit in home menu. What happened there?
Yeah, that was my bad. Like, just lack of preparation. So I didn't have my buttons mapped. Like, I was playing Splatoon last night. I had to wake up super early for this, so I didn't have my Dread buttons mapped. I was like, I knew that like as soon as I started, and I was like trying to think of the right place to do it. So I just waited for before Corpius, and then
Gotcha.
some quick menuing, and it wasn't too bad.
Honestly, that being said, I mean, did your buttons change Cloak Seal at all? Because you got through that pretty quickly.
No, it's purely just for mashing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, I do want to repeat, Grubdog does have some of the best standing mashing in the top 15. This guy's a demon on the sticks. There is his Ferenia fight is like 2 seconds faster than mine on the double bots, and I'm like, I thought I had a good mash. I guess not.
No, it's like for the longest time I had like the worst smash in the game, but then I realized like,
oh hell no,
I'm losing a lot of time here, and that's when I kind of developed a technique for it. So
yeah,
you can turn like the weakness into a strength sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's what speedrunning is. You always take what you're not doing well and you work on it, and then that's how you develop over the months and months of just being sad that you're not good. We've all been there. Every one of us has been there.
Oh, yeah.
Switching our attention over to Metatron, my man. I'm so sorry you had to
Hey.
deal with this run. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it was plagued. It was plagued. But you know what? It was okay. I have a tendency to quit these sort of things, but I was glad that I just went ahead and finished it. This is only my fifth full run of this category.
Mhm.
And yesterday I got a 126, which could have been a 125 because I failed gravity puzzle. So I know that's kind of where I am, but I had a list here. So in Artaria, I don't know what on earth, my home button got turboed. So my home button was flashing turbo, and I could not figure out how to turn it off. So it just disconnected, and I was able to reconnect it again. Yeah, Kraid, I triggered the cutscene. I died obviously 2 times at the Robos. The Drog quick kill, I think I was 1 missile short.
You
so
were,
that's kind
you
of a
were.
bummer. Yeah. And then just typically, I have not spent any time practicing movement in Frozen Artaria or Catarus. So that was just like fumbling through each room, more or less. I got to go back and watch some other runners to see how to move properly in those areas. But yeah, it was a pretty trash run, but I had fun, so it's all good.
Yeah,
It's good to be a part
tournaments
of it.
basically just a whole lot of fun until you get to the bracket matches, and now you're stressing. But when it comes to the qualifiers, you just get 2 of them in,
Yep.
happy with the 2, and then you just play the rest for fun if you want, or skip them entirely, whatever matters.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Alright.
I'm gonna practice for a 123. That'll be my goal for this tournament.
Sir,
So hopefully I'll get there.
I'm definitely confident that you'll be able to reach that time for sure. It's just about
Yeah,
cutting
I
out some
reckon.
of those bad mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
We'll see.
Before we send 3 of you away, I'd like to know, it is the last weekend. Will either of you be participating in the final race today in around 3.5 hours?
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
have to because I've only
I
done
have
one.
to.
So,
Gotcha. Yeah.
so that was a warm up, and hopefully the next one's better because it won't be.
Bro, isn't
5
it
a.m.
like 6 a.m. for you right now?
Yeah, that's why I wasn't
Wow.
super prepared. Had a rough start.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I couldn't make the other qualifiers. Like I was up anyway, but I just like have early work and stuff. But like
Makes sense.
today was fine. I just forgot the button mapping. But next qualifier, I'll try to remember that.
Yep.
And yeah, warmed up now.
For those who are not aware, Grub is a premier runner in this game, all the way from Down Under in Australia, if I remember correctly. Shows
Yep.
up in IRL events when possible. The last time I saw him, that was a joy of a run to watch. This guy is real nice in person. I wasn't there, but if I was, I mean shit.
Thank you.
So we're gonna see Grub and Root again tonight. Meta, will you be participating as well, or are you just gonna take it easy for the rest of the Sunday?
Yeah, I got to put my kids to bed around that time, so I got my 2 in, and that's good enough. So I'll practice a lot more for the actual races.
Gotcha. All right. Before we send the 3 of you out, Meta already answered this question because he offered it. I'd like to know, what are your goals for this tournament, guys?
Sub 120.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I was thinking that.
Sub 120. All right.
And
So-
also just to try and finish every single race, regardless
yeah.
of what
Yeah,
happens.
I said
That's another nice goal.
that-
I mean, like
Same,
if you
I would
can.
Yeah.
All right. So to close out the 7th qualifier, we will be seeing each other again at 8 p.m. Eastern time in roughly 3 and 20 minutes. I'm not really sure. Math sucks. I will not be commentating as I will be participating. I'm going to try to send off this last tournament, this last qualifier with a bang. And after today, we're going to start looking into scheduling matches, creating the brackets. It's going to be a double elimination bracket. Given the amount of runners we actually have this time around, it is unlikely that we're going to have a split bracket, but we will be able to make that decision once we get everyone's times together, and we'll figure it out from there. So that being said, yeah, gonna close out this session to the 3 of you. For the 2 of you that are participating, good luck on your preparations in the next hours, and hopefully you
Okay.
guys crank out a real good time tonight. This was just warm up. For sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Thank you,
Alright.
and thanks for commentating as well, Sab.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you,
always,
Sat.
always a joy. Meta, good luck.
Thank
with,
you.
I mean, I don't know shit about being a dad because I'm not no dad, but I do know that, like I said earlier, right? Shout outs to all the dads that play this game. You guys got to make time for this.
Mhm.
Family comes first.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and they
Alright.
like watching, so it's all good. Thank you.
Oh, that's
All right.
sweet.
So we're gonna close out this one, and we'll see you next mission. I think I forgot to say that last time. Yeah.
All right, take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye bye.